Nirvana speaks the oracle, and I am saved. Thank you, listener, for memory.
Okay, so I'm talking about the presenting problem of consensus reality, our current consensus reality, and being embedded within, stuck within, consigned to, maybe born into interesting times, the Chinese curse. These are the interesting times we've been born into, where most of us are that I'm talking to here probably are American. They don't have to be fuck Americans. I'm about ready to go to Canada kind of thing. It's a figure of speech. I wouldn't go anywhere. I pledged to stay within the incarnation. I pledged to stay within the consensus reality. I pledged to work within the system. I wasn't going to go off on some ledge somewhere, be countercultural or some kind of deviant. I did that earlier. I did that enough. I guess I shot my wad there. But in my adult years, I've definitely been working within the system. Actually working on enemy territory, working within the belly of the beast. And that's hard to do, to talk the way I'm talking. So I don't normally talk this way. But there's degrees of how much I open this up, depending upon how much I think people can handle. And you have to be pretty intuitive. I won't say psychic, but just be pretty damn intuitive to size the situation up, to know how much you can sort of push the river of it without having it be too uncomfortable that they shut down on you and stop processing information and pigeonhole you somewhere. Crazy, labelable. I'm feeling myself, a panic attack coming on, I can't sit still for this anymore, he's too out of control, or whatever it might be. Rather than gee, that's interesting, but I can't take very much at one time. Let me come back and eat portions of this, like smaller bites, like a bonbon, or a bouillon cube, or diluted in water a little bit. But, I'm under the gun to condense. I'm under the gun to become quietly, quiescently, receptively open to the superconductivity, to the high baud rate, high frequency capacity, pushing the limits of the languaging and the encoding and the bringing into human form and across to other human brain, minds, consciousness fields. I'm curious about and interested in the noble experiment of doing that more and more, of upping the ante, of turning the temperature up, essentially. The paradox is the temperature is kind of Heraclitean flux, fast, high frequency. It's getting hot, thick and fast. No, it's really underneath it all is the quiescence, is the coldness. We're heading toward absolute zero, Kelvin, where it's all, that's the stochastic ether, the flux at the 0 point energy vacuum level, that you've got something like 10 to the 9th or something ergs of energy per cubic centimeter in the vacuum. That's the ultimate metaphor. But how do you get at it? Well, I won't go into all that kind of stuff, but I'm equally interested in all that, the engineering tactics. But the engineering tactics I'm talking about here is, okay, let's say you're faced with a consensus reality that's very constraining, that's got a lot of fruit emanating from the roots and the seeds and the self-perpetuatingness of it, that is not good. It's toxic. It's ego dystonic. It's culture dystonic. It's Homo sapien dystonic. We've got a problem here. And so how do you escape from the box, like Houdini? How do you wake up from the consensus trance or the shared dream and become lucid within the dream? What happens when any of us reaches lucidity within a hitherto non-lucid dream? We become self-aware we're dreaming in the dream. We have an egoic, waking, reflective consciousness about the experience we're having, and lo and behold, we're still in the dream. So that's a wonderful cake and eat. That's a real bonus. I think evolutionarily, we've been given that bonus recently, and it's wonderful. Most people that study or written books about lucid dreaming, like Stephen LaBerge, they know they got the light bulb went on their head that there's this relationship, as I see it. Regular dreaming is to lucid dreaming as regular awakeness is to something like lucid awakeness. And usually for people in a non-lucid dream, what awakens them to lucidity in it is something anomalous, something that stands out. Otherwise, they just take for granted it's a regular dream and just zone on until breakfast. So what is it like the Thomas Kuhn thing? What are these anomalies we're experiencing? What's going on? What about them crop circles? Well, maybe it's someone trying to get our attention to awaken us to lucidity in the otherwise non-lucid dream, as an example of one frame of reference. But somebody who becomes lucid, surrounded by primarily non-lucid dreamers in this extended metaphor, or maybe literally true, has more degrees of freedom. They can reach a meta level to reflect on what other people are too close to reflect on, to think about. They're just the monsters chasing them. They run scared. They're chased. They're scared. They're just having an experience. When you realize at a lucid level that you're having a dream about being chased by a monster, you can intervene from a higher level, higher dimensionality, higher authority, your own higher self, I don't know, from your own lucid state now that you're in, and change the story and say, monster, I don't have to be frightened of you. I find now that I'm in a post-Cartesian place, and what I'm experiencing now, although it looks like tables and chairs in the surrounding environment, that when I was non-lucid in the dream, I would have think it was the world, was the universe, was what you experience. But now that I'm in a lucid state within the dream, I look around and by God, it looks like I'm awake. I could swear to God that I'm really awake. I can even cut myself and draw blood. I can hit something and feel pain. I can see the obdurateness of the object fields around me in the dream that I'm now lucid within. If I want to do it that way and play the game of interacting and field testing it and reality testing it that way, and it'll hold still for that. It may not, but in a lot of cases it does. The point is that you realize that you are in a vast interiority, that it's a unified field, and what you're experiencing is a higher dimensionalness where there's no more inner-outer, no more self-other. It subsumes those demarcations. You are no longer dissociated the way you were prior to lucidity. You've closed that lucidity, you've closed that dissociatedness more kind of a unified way you're experiencing it. And kind is calling forth the kind, and recognizing kind. My long lost, actually I can see that this is concretized consciousness. Whether I want to say it's my own, dreamscape, or inscape, as Gerard Manley Hopkins, the poet, called it, or whether I want to, I don't know what you call it, but anyway, so that was how you, I'll have to say for another time, how you can bootstrappingly change consensus reality from within. And part of it has to do how you can create new consensus realities, how you can transmute a consensus reality from within, once it's there, like a presenting problem. I believe it's doable. I believe it's social engineering. I believe it's kind of the forward edge of the engineering tactics of a new interdisciplinary forward edge spiritualization of science, and including the best of all science up until now and technology up until now, but more so, more spiritualized, more subjectively, more idealistically taken. So you'd have to take my word for it that I think there's great hope in those domains. But we can't awaken too many people from their shared non-lucid dream who are still poking each other's eyes out with sharp sticks and learning from that, or grieving the death of their daughter, or whatever it is that helps build character lines, build spirit, build soul, build all the ways you could be experiencing being, until you really do gain wisdom and do truly gain compassion, change your frame of reference, and indwell and feel into and through other people and out from them frames of reference. I mean, that's, you could say it's omniscience, you could say it begins to give you the right to wield omniscience or ultimate healing or reality creation. I believe all those things. But if the omnibenevolence, if the partaking of and the channeling of the universal heart, the love that is another way of construing the ether or the zero-point energy vacuum or the absolute spirit, that will guarantee that you wouldn't misuse things coming to you, given to you to work with. You have the right, you reach a point that you then inherit the new siddhas, the new possibilities, the new efficacies. And too many of us on this planet, most of us on this planet, are too far from a point to be given that kind of technology. Sort of like, people, psychics saying, learn how to kill your enemies, learn how to get somebody to love you, learn how to, get money quick. I'll teach you. I'm a shaman for hire here, and I'll help you do that. It's just child play. It's child stuff. It's so immature, and it's so unearned, and so not thought through, and so, in a sense, careless of service to other. For me, personally, it's my own 2 cents. So I'm not too hopeful that we're going to find that UFOs landing on the White House lawn tomorrow morning, that we're going to have a tremendous anomalous discontinuity thrown monkey wrench-like into the homeostatic, self-same, somnambulistic holding pattern, self-maintaining pattern that we're so used to each day, called it reality, take it for granted it's all there is and all that's possible.
The flood will come, but you must not forget the oracle. You can save only the one kind soul who has saved you.